Hello friends, today we're working on a 1999 Monte Carlo and we're going to do the wheel bearing. The wheel bearing is loose. You can hear it chucking around in there. We did do the other side a couple of months ago, and now it's time to get this side done. So first thing we need to do is jack up the vehicle and support it. And of course remove the tire and wheel assembly and go from there. Once you get your tire and wheel off, the next thing you want to do is remove the entire caliper assembly. And because we're going to need to get the rotor off, we've got to remove the entire caliper and the mounting bracket for the caliper. And to do that, there's two bolts. There's one here. I believe they're 18 millimeter. There's one here, and there's one on the bottom, which I've already removed. So we'll go ahead and get these removed. Now, I don't like to take the caliper and just leave it hang. It's not good for the line, especially if it might be a little old. In this case, we've got an emergency brake cable coming in here. We got a little extra support. So it's not the end of the world as far as that goes, but what I'd like to do is take a piece of wire, run it along here, and maybe tie it up to the spring or just some area so it's up out of the way and it's not hanging by the brake line. Okay, we've got our rotor supported. Just ran a wire from here just up to one of the coil springs here, so it's good and sturdy. It's not going to fall on my hand or fall and stretch the line out. So now that that's clear, we can remove the rotor. I like to inspect the rotor while I got it off, make sure there's no grooves. Also a good time to inspect the brake pads, make sure those are in good shape. And here we are. We're down to the wheel bearing, the reason for today's job. Now, this bearing should not spin this freely, contrary to popular belief. This should spin more, should feel more like molasses, kind of thick and gooey. And if you listen careful, you can hear it clicking. You hear that noise? That's not good. Bearings are shot. The race is shot. This one is not as loose as the one on the other side, which is extremely bad, but it's definitely bad. And the way to tell is jack the vehicle up off the ground and grab the tire, and you want to move the tire this way in and out, or from the bottom this way or this way, and you'll hear it clunking right inside here. And also, if you spin the wheel with the tire off, you'll of course hear this noise, and the worse it gets, the louder it is as it's going down the road. It kind of has a sound like, I don't know, like you've got big monster mutter tires on your vehicle. It's sort of a growling, moaning sound. It gets faster as the vehicle speed increases. So this one is definitely shot, and today's goal is to get it replaced. So what we need to do next is remove these bolts that hold the wheel bearing hub assembly on. There's 4 of them. They're 10 millimeter. I'm going to tell you right now, don't kid yourself, you're going to need torches. You're going to need heat for this job. These bolts will not just simply come out on their own. You're going to have to heat them up pretty good and get your wrench on there, get some penetrating fluid on there, and get them out. New bolts do not come with the bearing. They should, but they don't. So of course you want to be careful you don't melt the head of the bolt down while you're heating it up. And I'll unplug this ABS sensor wire, obviously, so it doesn't get burnt, and I'll just throw it back up here out of the way. We should be okay over here. However, whenever I'm using my torch, I like to keep a fire extinguisher nearby, because you never know what's going to happen. Another thing I've noticed while I'm under here is the overflow not the overflow, the vent tube pipe is rusted. It's rusted right in half. My son said there was gas leaking on the ground while he was filling the car, and now we see why. So I'm going to wrap a rag around that because I can smell fumes, and gas fumes and a lit torch, not a good combination. So we'll doctor that up today after we're done with the bearing. Alright, time to soak this down and get the heat out. I'm going to start with this one right here. Actually, you can see it. Got my torch and my wrench. Let's fire up the torch. Then you want to heat it without trying to deform it so you can't get the wrench on it. Get it good and red hot. You can also quench it with water, and that helps sometimes to loosen it. That's pretty hot. Let's give that a try. And that's it. A little bit of heat, and then I usually work it. Let's break free some of the rust. And then back it out. If you don't have heat, this job just ain't happening without stripping that out. It's just not going to happen. So that's that. So we've got one out. We've got 3 more to go. 1 down there, 2 on this side. So I'm going to continue heating them, getting them out of there, and we'll go on to the next step. Note that I did unplug the sensor. The cable is back there up out of the way, and I did put some water on a rag and hang it over that pipe to slow the fumes down from coming out. So on with the rest of them. Okay, I got all the bolts out. And I sprayed it down, let it soak a little bit. Now we'll just give it a couple taps. And out it comes. Now the wheel sensors, ABS sensors, are integral. So you don't have to worry about if you damaged or melted that. There is one on the new one. But as you can see, this bearing is shot. So there it is. I'll just take a wire brush, clean that up a little bit, a little spray in there, just to make sure everything's good. Clean the mating surface off, and we'll push the new bearing up in there. Okay, we got the new bearing installed. I did take my die grinder, had to knock that lip of rust off. The bearing should go in freely. You shouldn't have to tap on it or bang on it. Now I'm just going to use my drive ratchet and tighten these down. Of course, everybody talks about torque. These are 10mm bolts. I imagine just getting them snug down, relatively tight, is good enough. Now I know you're probably wondering why I didn't use this technique to take them bolts out, and I'll tell you why. This is only a 6-sided socket, and that 10mm wrench is a 12-point. I like to use a 12-point on bolts that might potentially strip out. If I did have a 12-point 10mm socket, I would have used that, but I didn't. and it also gives me something to tap on with the hammer. I just feel a little more in control with that. As far as tightening them up, you can use a ratchet and just go right through these holes. Works pretty slick. Get them snug down, and we'll get her back together. And there you go. It's installed. It's tight, ready for reassembly. Now I want to show you the difference here. Listen to this bearing. See how you don't hear almost anything at all? And notice if I try to spin this, it stops relatively soon. Give it a good spin. Boom, it slows right down. That's what it should be like. Kind of like molasses, nice and smooth, no noise. Not like this bearing, which is, again, pretty bad. So, don't chance it. I don't know of one ever actually seizing up. I'm sure that's quite possible, but when they get bad, you know it. So, that's it. That's all there is to replacing your wheel bearing on your 99 Monte Carlo, and I'm sure other Chevy vehicles, Malibus and such, are very similar to this procedure. So now all we need to do is put the rotor back on, put the caliper assembly back on. I will have to take my C-clamp and push this caliper in just a little so that the pads will clear. These pads are still in good shape. Get those two mounting bolts back in there. Put the tire and wheel back on, and that's it. The job is done. This job took me roughly, I'm going to say, an hour with stopping to record. It's not that difficult. The bearing itself was a little over $100. I think it was like $110. And as long as you've got heat and a little bit of patience, you can do this job. It's not that difficult. This job is typically $300 to $400 if you take it to a shop. So I just saved myself about $300, and the job's done. I know it's done right, and I feel confident that it's going to last for some time. Plus, there's a 2-year warranty on this. So that's it. Any questions or comments, something that I missed, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll reply to you promptly. Thanks again. This is Larry, and have a great day.